Hi, this is Rajesh. I am working on the project titled Analyzing Global Supply Chain Health Commodity Shipment and Pricing Records for HIV Fitness Commodities. The timeline of this small presentation is as follows. We will start with discuss about the problem statement, follow the dataset overview, and then we will talk about all the three hypotheses and their problem statements, methodology, reasons, and choosing the methods, results, conclusion, and finally we will conclude this presentation with overall conclusion. The intention of this project to analyze supply chain health commodity cargo and pricing information for antiretroviral and HIV lab shipment to support international location. For this project, we are using the supply chain shipment pricing data from official us.gov website. Let's check the description of the columns of the data sets we have used it, for this particular project presentation. Their properties like count, uniqueness, like there are four types of shipment mode like air, water, road, rail. There were around 10,037 column entries for the line item, insurance, and more similar information. The hypothesis one is about does the choice of shipment mode affect the unit price of HIV fitness commodities. We have used this regression analysis to solve the hypothesis. With the following results, with such low R squared value, we conclude that the choice of the cargo mode does not influence the unit price of HIV fitness commodities. The hypothesis 2 is about are there underlying latent factors that specify the pricing structure of HIV health commodities across the different countries. We have used the factor analysis to solve this hypothesis. Here are the results of the hypothesis 2, which we will interpret in the next slide. The factor 1 has good loading for line item quantity, line item value, pack price, and line item insurance. This suggests that the factors 1 is related to high quantities values, pack price, and insurance expenses of health commodities. And the factor 2 has very high loading for unit price and moderate positive loading for the pack price. This indicates that the factor 2 is commonly associated with the unit pricing of the commodities. High positive loadings indicate that increase in the factor 2 are associated with the higher unit prices. The factor 3 has a positive loading for the unit measure per pack and the line item insurance. This factor seems to symbolize the factors related to the unit of measurement and the insurance expenses related to the HIV health commodities. There are factors can significantly help stakeholders apprehend what drives pricing variations among the countries. As an instance, international locations with a high factor 1 score may have large scale commodity transactions, will locations with the high factor 2 score would be possibly have higher unit charges. And the hypothesis 3 is about can we become aware of clusters of countries with similar pricing and cargo patterns for HIV health commodities. We have used cluster analysis for this input variables as input unit price, line item value, and freight cost. Here are the visualizations of the clusters in hypothesis 3, which we will interrupt in next slide. So cluster 1 is characterized through a pretty low unit price, moderate line object value, and comparatively low freight expenses. International locations on this cluster may also prioritize low cost effectiveness in their supply chain and main to lower unit charges and freight expenses. And cluster 2 exhibits a low unit price, a notably higher line item value and extensively higher freight expenses. These countries may focus on their premium and high value commodities with their increased shipment costs. And the cluster 3 stands out with a moderate unit price, slightly more line object value than the cluster 1, and comparatively moderate freight fees. These countries seem to deal with high value commodities, possibly specialized or premium products. And the cluster 4, in contrast to the other clusters, the cluster 4 has exponentially high unit price and very low line object value and the lowest freight expenses. This cluster may also include countries with particular and high value commodities, however lower quantities. Hypothesis 3 successfully identifies clusters of countries with comparable pricing and cargo styles, which can be valuable for supply chain optimization. Enterprising those clusters can make guide supply chain decisions. For example, knowledge of which nations belong to the cluster 1 would be possibly assist optimize values of green supply chain techniques. Visual like that the one in cluster 3 may additionally require specialized handling due to high value commodities. In this project, we analyze global supply chain data for HIV fitness commodities, addressing the key hypotheses by the way of regression, factor analysis, and the cluster analysis. Finding the proposed that shipment mode does no longer considerably affect unit pricing. Latent elements have an impact on pricing structures in the course of the nations and the clusters of the countries with the comparable pricing and load patterns exits. Insights of can be tell a fact that pushed decisions for the stakeholders in HIV fitness, commodity procurement and distribution, contributing to the delivery chain control and optimization. In this course and particularly this project helped me to learn various data analysis techniques, interpreting the results and the implementation in the real world. During this, some of the challenges I faced related to the data quality, with required more processing, appreciate model selection for the proposed hypothesis to gain the best results and more. Here the links to the dataset websites, which were helpful me to for the successful implementation of the particular project. Thank you.